Entrepreneurs Forum is excited to welcome you to our podcast, Let's Talk Business. I'm your host Trupti, and today we will be diving into one of the most transformative forces shaping the future, artificial intelligence. Today's guest is Dr. Amey Pangarkar, an international TED speaker, marketing consultant, as well as an author. He's also gold medalist in MBA marketing from MIT WPO and a proud member of Google's prestigious Rare Leadership Academy. Your expertise lies at the intersection of digital marketing and AI. You have also authored several books advocating for the use of technology to empower businesses and individuals. So, sir, will you be excited to dive us into the world of AI today?
Absolutely. I'm all eager to do that.
Thank you so much. For starters, can you tell us about your MIT WPO experience as you're also an alumni student?
Certainly would love that. I completed my course back in 2013-14 batch, and it was lovely days. I did my BE electrical before I got into MBA marketing, and till BE it was all, let's say, all my Pune friends with me till I was in my graduation days. And the moment I entered MIT for my MBA, I suddenly got hold of people from different cultural background, different social background. It was for me getting exposure to entire country sitting in the same class, and that actually opened a huge round of doors in terms of understanding their nuances. I suddenly became so much empathized about understanding from where they come, why they are doing what they are doing, and it was an amazing journey for me. I learned so many things in the class and at the same time outside the class within those years. I was happy, I was learning so many things, I was getting exposure to so many things. So it was a lovely period. Those 2 years, if I get a chance, I would revisit those 2 years again and again.
Thank you so much. I sometimes feel like that is my experience at MIT also. So, like, how did you find your way into AI and digital marketing?
Thank you so much. I did my BE electrical, as I said, and after MBA marketing, electrical engineering on taught me one very important thing, that what I should not do in my career, which was engineering. That was the reason I entered into marketing. And while I was doing it, thanks to the practical exposure that was provided during these MIT days, I started getting grasp that okay, this is something that I'm liking. I'm able to understand what I'm doing, and I think I can survive in this is something that I understood. And back then, I'm telling you, those era wherein we didn't had internet in the class,
Okay.
and we were learning digital marketing, internet marketing on the blackboards. So whatever, let's say, SEOs and whatever algorithms that we speak of, I happened to learn them on practical aspects first, because it was way more why it happened, how it happens, the theory behind it, the algorithms behind it, and that appealed me a lot. Thankfully, thanks to the placement team that was there at MIT, even at back then, I started getting my internships, my various workshops, my placements, and all that support that I could get were into what I wanted to do, which was back then a huge new domain into marketing consultancy.
Okay.
So back then it was a very jazz word. No one knew about it. I started doing it. I started exploring few things in advertising, branding, and eventually realizing, okay, this is something called as marketing consultancy. While this phase was going in, people were doing websites, people wanted to rank themselves better. So this was it. Even social media was a way more untouchable aspect for businesses back then. But happened to come from that era wherein we started having businesses coming on Facebooks. LinkedIn was their own domain for that particular point of time, but no one looked at it from a marketing point of view.
Okay.
Since I came from a marketing domain, that too thanks to basic understanding and a practical approach, I was a gold medalist at that point of time. The industry looked at me from person who understands marketing, advertising, and wants to do something in digital marketing. So I had to open door in that entire spectrum. So for me, it started as an accident. I started doing one step at a time. Never had this bigger picture in my case that I want to be at so and so place after 5 years, because I was entering into an unknown water. It was not a known field back then. So I was testing my waters. But eventually, thanks to the foundational knowledge that I got in MIT back then, I was able to survive even today. So this is how I started doing and getting into digital marketing. So cut directly to 2019 when I was a part of this Google Rare Leadership Academy. we were exposed to the generative AI that Google that was developing a Bard, their product. It was a very conceptual stage that means I could see a very initial days into it. And during that, I could easily understand that this has something a great future across various industries,
Okay.
not only in marketing, not only in finance, but across the industries. Something, but at that point, generative AI was not even a word.
Okay.
Something like कि something you give a command, वो अलादीन का चिराग होता है ना,
हाँ.
कि you give command and that thing will do something. So for me, it started as that amusement. कि something like this is coming up, wherein you can actually practically give command, and a technology will have a solution for it, and that appealed me a lot. Till that point, I never knew what AI is. And from my journey started in AI, and at that point of time, which is 2019, 2020, started to understand what does AI do, what all things lies into it, what different things have happened in AI. And 2022 end November, when ChatGPT was introduced and many abundant AI tools were introduced. In first 4 5 months, I would say I've practically had tried somewhere close to 10,000 AI tools in different verticals. Because of that, with that entire hands-on trying, and thanks to Dr. Vijay Bhatkar, who has been my mentor, I happened to introduce, means discuss few things with him. He told me, why don't you write a book on it? So that gave birth to my first book on AI tools, IO tools, which came in June 2023, which happens to be India's first book on AI tool, and which I then later translated into Marathi. So these were the domains wherein I started researching on AI. The moment book got introduced, various industrialists, various small scale entrepreneurs, startup India, these people came to me, why don't you consult us? Why don't you counsel us in terms of what we can do in terms of AI? Wherein these guys didn't wanted to get their hands dirty in learning AI, which I had done by that time. And they didn't wanted to spend a huge amount of time in programming AI for themselves. So they practically wanted to leverage whatever AI tools that were there present into their business. And that's where, as you rightly said, my intersection came in very handy.
Yes.
So that's how I got into AI and digital marketing.
Thank you so much. By the way, your reference to AI being Aladdin ka chirag was very accurate actually. So, what excites you most about working at the intersection of AI and marketing?
The possibilities, the endless possibilities that are there. Like for instance, even if you, means the very popular AI tool which is Chat GPT, even if you ask GPT today, what's future of AI in next couple of years, I doubt even Chat GPT can give you a proper answer. And that's amuses me like anything. You are entering into a world of possibilities like anything. The second greatest thing that is happening is the rate at which, like in from engineering point of view, we use a word called as velocity, which
Yes.
means the rate at which these things are changing, and it is amazing. I'll just quote one of my favorite author, which is Yuval Noah Harari, and he mentions that the rate at this is for happening for the first time in the human race altogether,
Okay.
that the technology is growing at a faster rate than the humans growth. And that's where we are getting poised with amazing possibilities. And today I can find, means you will be amazed to know that today we have more than few crores of AI tools that are available. सिर्फ presentation के लिए you, I can tell you something like 15 16,000 tools that are available, and this list is getting populated hugely. Tools are coming in local languages, colloquial languages, and I can easily foresee. I've been, there are so many blogs and podcasts that I have done on this very particular topic, wherein I said I can easily foresee India to be next AI capital within 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
That is the huge potential that this particular technology carries for all of us. We already are, means India is already the highest population for use of AI tools in the globe.
Okay.
We are the largest democracy and population that uses ChatGPT. We have already reached this stage.
I have also recently learned that ChatGPT can also provide you with daily routines.
Yeah. It can give you your diet, it can give you anything. Means it can even now, it can also give you, not that the GPT, but there are several tools that can give you your psychological advices as well.
Yeah, that also.
And it is amazing.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. What sparked your passion for helping businesses integrate AI into their strategies?
Three things. Again, I never ventured into or knocked the doors for industries to go into AI.
Okay.
For me, it was a blessing in disguise that happened, that GPT got popular and various AI tools started happening. So I entered AI when the AI summers were there, and thanks to it, there was already a kind of a receptiveness that was there among the industry, that they were ready to welcome AI. They wanted to learn about AI. What happened for me, that due to the foundational marketing consultancy over a decade that I had experienced back then, and with the research that I had done for my books in AI tool, I was already a learned person according to the industries who है या नहीं उनके लिए, but they already started looking at me. Rather, my positioning was already in a way that this person understands consultancy, and this person also has done a quite amount of extensive research in AI tool, and that was a great thing in terms of industries or different businesses accepting me. And the another thing that happened during this part of it is Startup India also onboarded me as a mentor for various startups, so that I can help them in terms of embedding AI tools in their startup ecosystems. So all these things happen in a very fertile period for me, that they happen one after the other, and I was able to leverage them in terms of doing several things that I was doing it. So it was, again, as I said, it was never that I approached it. It came as a demand, and thanks to why I'm harping on that consultancy domain, because when you are a consult to any business, you don't understand their one problem. You understand their entire ecosystem, you understand their company, and then you try to align your solutions wherein they can fit the best. So it's like playing the puzzle. You have various pieces with you, and you try, means there is no one single way to arrange a puzzle. You can start from very well points. So that approach helped me while I started conversing with these companies, trying to understand. Means again, they didn't also know what are their problems. When we started understanding their routine, we came up with several other possibilities. And then I was vocal enough to think, okay, out of these possibilities, this is something that AI can do. And I was also of that opinion, okay, for your business, AI can't do anything. So it's not that every business should embark on a AI journey back then. Now it's a different story in a couple of years. But at the initial days of AI, it was, means I was vocal in the point, okay, tu mat kar. And for your cases, these are the things that can happen. Have these many expectations only. It's not a jadoo ka chadi ki it will change the entire thing. So that approach also, I think people liked it.
Okay. So, like as you mentioned right now, that some of the companies had no use of AI being
Back
implemented.
2 years back.
Yeah. So, how did you differentiate which companies had the use of AI and which didn't? Like,
Again, I look at cost to benefit ratio.
okay,
How much cost are you going to invest in doing it,
okay,
and what amount and what percentage of benefit it is going to give it back to you. If that cost benefit ratio is not worthwhile, I tell them don't do it. If it is meaningful, I tell them, okay, this is something that can happen, these are the possibilities that you can earn out of it. If it is meaningful for you, go ahead.
so okay, thank you, sir. What are learners' most significant barriers to understanding and adopting AI?
Thank you so much. This is a one very interesting question that you have asked. First thing that happens here is people are of the opinion that यार ये मेरे लिए काम का नहीं है. It can happen, but it will happen only in bigger companies, or if at all it were to happen, it will happen only in Western world.
Yeah,
Right?
very true.
So these were the roadblocks or the pitfalls that various companies that had. Second, people were very susceptible about their data protection, their internal company's data. So, to which I always have an opinion that you already have website, you already have so many things in public domain. Let's work on that. You may not work on your personal data. Let's work on the data which is already in public domain. Okay. To answer back to the first two questions, I always used to tell them that the phone that you are using, the mobile phone that you are using, is 30% or more than that works on AI. अगर वहां तक आ चुका है तो what about your business? Why you are not adapting to it? So again, this was a way huge resistance that was there in the minds of the audience and everyone. They wanted to do, but they were not ready to take that leap of faith, is what I'll say.
Okay. So you have also interacted with many learners and professionals. Again, what is the misconception about AI? With something you being said कि ये तो हमारे लिए है नहीं, तो और
Secondly,
समझाइए that.
it is way more costly, is something that I've always heard कि AI वो बहुत costly होगा. Fortunately or unfortunately, it depends on whether the glass is full for you or a half full. So it's up to you. I'll always look at this as a possibility. See, when internet emerged or computerization emerged, there were people who adopted it very quickly, and there were few who were of the opinion, I still want to be in the old book. Eventually, over a period of time, all of us had to shift, and today we look at it as a convenience. Why don't you come to college with on your bicycle or while walking? Why you take two-wheeler or a car? Because you have chosen convenience, right? Is it healthy? No. But we have chosen convenience as a matter of our lifestyle. Same way, I then start giving these examples and talking about it. You are already in the internet era, wherein you are already doing few things. You are already doing, let's say, making a presentation using Google. You are not doing entirely something on yourself. Then why not to use this tool rather than this? If you look at it from this, your mindset is completely different. You start accepting it very quickly. There is one very interesting theory. Means I'm just digressing a bit, but there is a need that I want to do it. There are two concepts in psychology. One says, every time there is something new that comes to you, be it some new friend that you encounter with, a new person that you encounter with, or a new technology in this case, anything that new happens to you, we go through several stages, and we have our inertia not to accept it by default. So firstly, what we do, we deny it. कैसा है ही नहीं. Then we start negotiating. Then we start bargaining. Then finally, on some day, we accept it. And the moment we accept it, then and then only we can excel in it. Now, for AI, what has happened even today, many of us or many of our listeners will be in different stages of these grief levels, if I may say. Some of them will be still under denial mode. Some of them would be trying to adjust, negotiate, recoup, do few bargaining, and few of them would have accepted it. And few of them possibly might have reached that nirvana of excellence. Right? So everyone is at a different level. The moment you go and reach that acceptance level, you are a different individual. Right? Second example, and why it is needed, is again one very interesting concept in psychology, that is a half-life knowledge is a concept. And what is that half-life knowledge? That whatever new that you learn today, how till what time it is useful. So the psychology gives a measure called as half-life knowledge, which means if I learn something today, 50% of उसकी usefulness कितने देर में आएंगी? How much time it will take? So in 2010, when I completed my engineering, this half-life knowledge was 13 and a half years. So whatever I thought as new in 2010 and learned has reduced to 50% of its effectiveness, usefulness in by now in 2024. Today, with the rate at which this technology is growing, this half-life knowledge has got shrunk to 5.5 years. What it means is, like for instance, people of your age who are, let's say, starting their career, be it business or a job or anything, let's say at the age of 23, 24, and are going to work, let's say, till age of 60. So you guys are working for 20, 35, 36 years. In your this 35, 36 year, you will have to unlearn, relearn, upskill, downskill 6 to 7 times, which possibly our parents did it only once. Okay. So now the adaptability quotient is way, 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 way more important. So I jokingly say, even if you don't know 27 ka table, this is fine. But you should be way more adaptable today. Okay. If you are not going to be adaptable, again you are going to get kicked out. And you guys are going to see people who have done their doctorates, possibly in medicine, started to work in medicine field, shift to law, and possibly even retire as a graphic designer. These are the fundamental changes that possibly your generation may see while you pass on. And such a level of adaptable quotient is required today. if you're not, again, that flexibility is not there with you, unfortunately you're not made for that era. And this things is something that I want the individual should be ready in terms of accepting it. Okay, we are walking into that phase, we are walking into that era wherein things like this are going to happen.
Thank you, sir. So, can you share a specific example of any of your clients of generative AI application that delivered exceptional results?
Why exceptional? I'll say very small results.
Okay.
For the first means that example will be very essential. I'm telling you the era of 2023, initial days of 2023, wherein even chat GPTs and AI tools was not that talked about. I'm talking about that period. And well, let's take a very simple example of making a website. Okay. Traditionally, at that point of time, or even today, a typical web developer generally takes somewhere around 3 to 4 weeks for making one e-commerce website on an average. Some may vary, some may have lesser, depending on complexities of it. But let's consider for easier of calculation, 1 month is something that is typically needed. I have a one very interesting friend of mine who runs a cafe just bang opposite to my office. And I'm telling you the days of February 2023 when one fine afternoon we went to his cafe for having dinner, having lunch. Me and my few office colleagues, we went there. And I was just chatting with him. I met him after quite some time. So we were discussing what happened, how's the business going, वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. So told me that he was starting a cloud kitchen business back then. And he wanted to create a website that from where he can accept the orders. So it was basically a e-commerce food delivery website that he wanted to me to create. I said, fair enough, let's do it. So we started discussing. I had a colleague of mine back then. She went and she took few photos of chefs making few dishes, वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. And I was discussing with him. I'm just trying to scribble few things on my prompts. I was doing few things. I had another friend who was again, while in the same discussion, he was also doing few things. Okay. Cut the long story short, I was there for another, what I'll say, 40 to 45 minutes. In this 20 30 minutes, we completed an e-commerce website, launched it, tested it. It was secured. E-commerce payment integrations were created, Google Analytics, WhatsApp integration, everything done and dusted. And on that day, rather than I paying him for my pizza, I gave him my invoice, which was equivalent to a normal website developer in normal days, what I would have done. My point is, this is where the entire spectrum has got shifted. And again, I'm saying you something which was 2 years back. Almost we are entering 2025. So this is back 2 years, the kind of speed with which these things started happening. And even it was not just we completed it. Even he was sitting with us and he also had accepted those things and we were able to complete it. He was also awestruck by the rate at which these things got completed. And today you can name, means today it's just an amal, means whatever level to which your thoughts can exceed, AI has already reached there. And again, there are solutions that are available even in any spectrum of life. The reason I gave you that this example is just to show you 1 month and 30 minutes. So 30 days versus 30 minutes. And both paid me equally. Okay. So, what talking about your books, you have also written collage on AI tools. It's in no, the collage was my first book in Marathi back in 2020, yes, 2013. So that was not, that has nothing to do with AI. Okay. The Marathi book is named AI च्या बटव्यातून, and its English translation is AI tools. Okay. Both of them are in their sixth and fifth edition respectively. Okay. And are doing quite well. People were very receptive about it, and the beauty of these books are the book carries somewhere around 180 AI tools. Okay. From 48 different verticals of life. So from kitchen to something like healthcare, or from game development to mobile app development. So such 48 sectors are there, and across these 48 sectors, I have shortlisted 180 tools that can operate in these different verticals. How to use these tools, what these tools can do, is the book all about. Also, the Marathi in me has to ask, how did you come up with AI च्या बटव्यातून? I'm a fond reader of Marathi, Hindi, Urdu, and English. Okay. So for me, poetry, theater has been there in my since my childhood. I'm a avid reader. Was into theater in my school and college days. So again, it's nothing.
Like, how did you come up with that title?
Again, it has Batwa means something is like a wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all this or all these tools are actually there with you. It's just that, like for instance, if you go out, you might have seen your grandmothers carrying that batwa with there, right? So if you have anything, what your grandmother does, she just opens it and gives something to you, and that is so appropriate for that particular time, and you just get amazed कि यार इसके पास सारी चीजें कहाँ होती है यार इतनी सी छोटी सी चीज में इसमें क्या क्या होता है इसके पास is the kind of feeling that we have. So that's the same retrospective or connection that I had wanted to give, that these AI tools are like those magical short pills that your possibly nannies give you at a point of time, and there means if you look at it, you can't, again, those being intangibles one, you can't see it, and you may look at it in a very smaller aspect, but they have a possibility of doing so many things for you.
Great title, by the way, sir.
Thanks a lot.
So, what feedback have you received about your books?
So many. Like for instance, Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Vijay Bhatkar, who has been my mentor for quite some time, he appreciated the book by saying and giving me the forewords for my Marathi and English books as well. Various novelists such as Achyut Godbole sir has been quite supportive of this tool, and various such people. I can't even name so many people of them. But for me, the best part was, I'll give you two very interesting example. I know this person. He's a 83-year-old, and he was an industrialist in Pune. His paintings were avid popular. Having means he used to run a factory, and he was into painting, watercolor painting. And he told me that he went through my book, and he used to face a very interesting problem, that due to age, he can't have his hands steady for drawing watercolors into it. So he had his hand shakes while doing those paintings, so he couldn't make one. So he used to tell me that I have an idea of making a painting, but due to age, I can't make one. So he read a book and he came up with one very interesting tool for making graphical content. So he tried one, gave him that idea, and the tool exactly created what he had in his mind. And he was like, yeah, actually, that tool was like a hand for me, wherein my ideas are there, my expectation, my visualization is there, and this tool is actually helping me to do few things. One more very interesting example that I have from a this is one very crazy thing that had happened. I was talking about I had mentioned about few tools that can create codes, that can create programs, computers. So I knew another colleague of another acquaintance of mine, if I may say. I haven't met this person. He comes from a very tier 3, tier 4 rural Maharashtra. And he happened to see my book in his college library. So he went and he created one mobile app. And what that mobile app does, this mobile app gives you sensation to clean your spectacles, and he has launched that mobile application. And that chap has nothing to do in terms of mobile, how to make a mobile app. He has no idea, but he had this idea to make this mobile app. He got वो है ना app that tells you to drink water after some time. So he saw that that is a very interesting app that he liked, and he wanted to make this application, but he didn't know how to make it. So he tried this tool and created. So there were many such people who not only purchased the book but have tried to play with these tools. And for me, that's the bestest testimony that I can get.
That sounds like a great application, actually. Can I know the name of it?
I'll give you.
Thank you. So, have you decided to write any more books?
Right now, on 5th of January, my next book, which is in Marathi, Sahaj Sope Digital Marketing, is getting launched. And right now, I'm writing another 3 books, which are on the horizon of getting released in 2025. Fortunately or unfortunately, all these 3 books are getting published in Marathi first, and their sisters in English will be preceded after those. The reason again for writing it in Marathi first is I think I can explain myself and express myself better in Marathi first. But having said that, I have found that niche that I can connect with him. So that's the first reason that I'm doing it in Marathi first. And also, I can write in English, not that as good as I do in Marathi, but I'm also translating them and launching it in English. So these are the 3. One of them is on Metaverse, another one is on generative AI, and the third one is on cobot. So these are the three that are coming in 2025.
Okay. So not only your books helped in providing information and knowledge to other people, but how did it shape your future?
Thank you so much. Actually, you're the first one to ask me this question. I might
Okay.
tell you. I mean, so even after giving many interviews, you're the first one to ask this question, and a
Okay.
very pertinent thing to ask. See, I come from again from a marketing
Hmm.
background for last 12 odd years, and in marketing, might have definitely learned the concept of STP, segmentation, targeting, and positioning. And for me, that has been one amazing theory that I have learned. And then after some part of my life, the moment I started consultancy and meeting people and doing it, I started looking at myself as one brand. I started looking at myself as a product,
Okay.
and what I would have done if this were to be promoted. So I thought ki branding is something that is way more important for that as a product, and that was one core area which I had to work on myself, wherein I had to promote myself as a thought leader. I had to promote myself as a person who understands it, and not only understands it, but is able to connect with people and also explain them. So this was for me a kind of I'll say aim for promoting myself as a product.
Okay.
So this was somewhere in my subconscious, which led me, pulled me to write few things. And when I was writing it, obviously I had to do way more research, which again rekindle my interest in research, rekindle my interest in studying that subject again, looking at the same subject from a different perspective, rewording it so that it becomes way more easy to explain. So when you speak and when you write books, you don't know who's reading it.
Hmm.
So that's also a different consideration. So whoever is reading it, you don't know their social backgrounds, you don't know from where they're coming, what educational background they carry. So you have to explain it in such a way that they understand it, and not only understand it, you have to explain it in such a way that they'll think that I can also use it. So that has been one very interesting, I'll say, culmination change of my thought process, the way I look at these things. So that has changed me a lot.
That sounds really great. I'll make sure to read your book,
All
sir.
right, thank you.
So, how do you stay ahead in such a rapidly changing field? What resources do you rely on?
You want a trade secret, is it?
Yes.
See, there are two things. One is I have to. I have to. That's the first
Hmm.
reason. I don't have a choice. In my opinion, no one has a choice. You have to stay concurrent, you have to stay contemporary, you have to stay relevant. These three things are actually must for anyone who has to enter this field. Again, go back to that half-life knowledge
Hmm.
thing that I said. So you have to do that. What I try to do is I try to get involved with students every time that I can. So I teach at various institute. Again, I am a
Hmm.
visiting faculty at MIT also. The reason I would do it is not at all for some kind of remunerations and all. I do it only for the purpose that the moment I enter in class, I have to be prepared.
Okay.
So even if I'm teaching, let's say, digital marketing, every time, let's say, I'm speaking about SEO, even I have talked about it for, let's say, 400 times. Next time when I'm going to class, you guys are so dynamic and you have this amazing power with you of questioning, which I didn't had. Means whether I wanted to, yes, I wanted to, but I
Hmm.
didn't had guts the way you have,
Hmm.
and I like that. So whenever I'm in discussing few things with students, they keep me on my toes. So that is something that I do every week. So every week 10 hours is something that I do specifically with students, obviously at different
Hmm.
ages, with be it for post grad level, or I do have few students who are doing their doctorates at corporate training. So I have dedicated 10 hours every week for this domain. Second thing I do, I have in my organization, I spend equal amount of money on AI tools equivalent to human beings. So, for
Okay.
instance, if I have a resource who is, let's say, at so and so LPA,
Hmm.
I also end up spending or investing equal amount of that amount on AI.
Okay.
So I have access to various AI tools, journals. We have tried now with so many of years of into AI and doing so many trials. These tools also approach me for testing, trying few things out. So that is also a few things that we are doing. So practicing and actually getting your hands dirty in trying the tools is something that the second thing that I do in terms of um, AI
Okay.
tools perspective, generative or predictive AI for that. And the third thing that I do is, apart from reading newspapers
Hmm.
or novels and all those things, I also write in newspapers. So there is a weekly column that I do for one of the papers,
Okay.
wherein I write specifically about few things that have happened in that week in AI. So again, for writing that, I have to check यार इस हफ्ते क्या हुआ है. And I've deliberately did these three things apart from my consultancy and all other thing business that I do. These three things, and I obviously for these three things I have resources who are helping me to do this research and do few things with me. So these are the three things that I practically do.
Okay, so a question. What do you like most? Being a marketing consultant or like teaching or speaking to the students like your
See,
TED Talks?
marketing consultancy is also something, both these things
Hmm.
actually. See, I'm a different person when I'm doing consultancy, I'm a different person when I'm interacting with my students.
Hmm.
I can't be both on the same point of time. That's I'm saying ki this is something that I do क्योंकि पापी पेट का सवाल है,
हाँ.
and that is something that I have to do. But at the same point of time, I have tried to find that sweet spot of 10 hours a week,
Okay.
wherein I also love interacting with students. I love interacting with my trainees, irrespective of their age.
Hmm.
So that is something, as I said, for me it is 10 hours a week. For somewhere else, others may have different find. But over a period of time, I have found that sweet spot wherein I do few things for my own self because they give me an energy to do few things. And this is something because I have to run a company. There are various
Hmm.
people who are also working with me, तो उनका भी salary का देखना पड़ता है.
हाँ. So, beyond businesses, how can AI be leveraged to address pressing global challenges such as climate change or educational inequality?
To be very honest, it is a disaster when it comes to climate change.
Yes.
It is means not to pat his back. See, whenever these things, generative AIs are yielding so much amount of server space, they are eating so much amount of water as a resource to for its cooling, electricity. So it is actually one such disaster.
Okay.
So it can't do anything. As I said, I'm blunt enough to tell you ki, and I'll say I'm blunt enough to call spade a spade.
Hmm.
So this is AI tools are not at all saviors in your climate change and global warming and so on and so forth. As far as educational inequality is concerned, it is a great spectrum of things that can happen for a very simple reason. I may not have access or resources to learn a particular subject from experts in that,
Hmm.
but you have AI tools that can actually give you somewhere closer to the best possible content that is available if used properly. That if used properly is something that you can bold, underline thrice, but it is a entry door that can help you. Again, on internet you have porn as well, and there are so many things that will let you prone to your ideas as well. It's in the hands of user what you have to do it.
So, since India is facing high unemployment and not everyone can be a software engineer or learn coding, where do you think AI or the metaverse can help?
Again, in terms of AI, you need not be AI programmer all the time. You
Hmm.
can be an effective AI user as well.
Okay.
For that, you need not learn programming. You need not, like for instance, take my example. I come from an electrical engineering background. I don't know any programming language whatsoever. If I can master the AI tools user aspect, everyone sitting and listening to this can easily do it. The point is you need to have a logic. That is something that has to be in your mind to approaching effectively using of AI. AI may not have an answer to each and every question of yours,
Hmm.
but AI can definitely give you direction. AI can help you fast forward into your answer that you are looking forward. Just be logical, be visionistic. Issue that again I find is people look at it, "Okay, I don't have anything.
Hmm.
I'll just rely on an AI tool that will give me everything." Unfortunately, AI is a digestive technology. Whatever input you will feed in, it will process that and gonna give you output. If you give him good food, if you give him good thoughts,
Hmm.
proper direction, you are going to get better output. But if you give him very thoda sa, you will be end up having an empty stomach after the entire process.
So, just like you said, you should know how to give the inputs in AI for a better output. Is it true that sometimes ChatGPT gives fake or some
It will.
results?
It will. It's a theoretically proven concept. I'll tell you why.
Hmm.
Like, say, for instance, when you were a kid,
Hmm.
if I would have, or anyone in your family, teacher, would have taught you, this is not blue, this is red, what would have happened? Today, you would have called this red.
Hmm.
And not only that, you have called, let's say, all the colors in this spectrum as light red, dark red,
Hmm.
right? Now, just extrapolate or just come fast forward.
Hmm.
If you would have seen a car which is actually in blue color, you would have called, "Ki this is a red car." When you would have seen, let's say, red color signal,
Hmm.
possibly you might say, "Ki whenever you see blue signal, you have to stop,"
Yeah.
because your frame of references would be that,
Hmm.
right? Now, what's the issue over here? Whenever you, as a computational device,
Hmm.
were trained, they were fed with a wrong input,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
Same thing. Now, just try to take it into AI world.
Hmm.
If at all, be it GPT or be any AI tool, if they were fed with a wrong information, they are bound to get wrong results. I'll tell you one very interesting thing that happened in France few years, I guess, if I'm not wrong, few years or few months back.
Hmm.
There was this chap who was a who come from a bit evil mindset. He again tried to play with one AI tool wherein he replaced addition with subtraction and multiplication with division. So he interchanged the program. So what happened? When 3 plus 2 was asked, rather than giving 5, the tool gave answer as 1 because addition was replaced by subtraction. Now, if there are many people using that tool, what will happen? Eventually, the entire mass who are not smart enough, because today we have devices that are smart and human beings are dumb. So, पहले उल्टा था ना,
हाँ.
पहले बंदे स्मार्ट थे, अब devices smart है. We have all the smart devices, right? So these people will eventually start accepting the tools or the results like that. So it's in the both the ways per se.
Okay. So, what is your take on regulating AI? Should it be governed like nuclear technology, or is self-regulation by tech industry
You
enough?
have to regulate it. You
Okay.
have to. You must. But the problem is how, and the entire world is currently facing the same thing. Like, for instance, we had a few election campaigns in India as well as in our own state
Hmm.
just few months back. There have been so many AI deepfake videos that were
Hmm.
created. Just to name few, there was this one video of a great Bollywood personality who was so popular, which became viral a day prior to elections across the particular states in India, who said to vote for a particular party and not to vote for a particular party for so many reasons.
Hmm.
In Telangana, we had seen one video when one political person who was actually contesting election, his AI deepfake video became viral, wherein he is saying to and requesting people to vote for someone else.
Okay.
We had baiting deepfake videos of Bharat Ratna Sachin Tendulkar, wherein he's saying, "Ki my daughter plays a particular mobile online game or something of that sort, and she has earned so many things." Now the issue is there is such a blind faith in all these individuals that, and means they are the ones to get credit for it. I'm not disrespecting them for all these things. That people have started to evolve with an era that, okay, if Sachin says so, I have to accept it.
Yes.
It is the इससे आगे तो truth हो ही नहीं सकता. So because of this, these all gentlemen had to come on stage and tell कि ये मैंने नहीं कहा. Now look at it. Let's say tomorrow is election. Today I see a video of a person who says, who I trust left, right, center, middle, everywhere, and he appeals to me to vote for a particular party. Obviously, that is going to have a dent in my mind. Tomorrow I will cast a vote, and by that time that person will realize कि ऐसा ऐसा हुआ है. He'll come to media, he'll make a statement that will come into paper, but by that time damage has been done. So do we want AI under regulation? Yes, definitely. At an alarming pace, we want it. But how is a $1 million question? And that is, unfortunately, right now, not even me, anyone is completely clueless about it.
Thank you so much for answering so many informative questions. Now it is time for rapid fire round.
Oh
You
my
just have to be
goodness.
quick with the
Okay, let
answers.
me have a sip of water.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. AI or traditional marketing, which excites you more?
AI,
Your favorite AI tool for marketing right now?
gravity right.
Your go-to method for staying updated on AI trends?
Google.
One thing AI can never replace in marketing.
Word of mouth.
Okay. A book other than yours that inspired your career.
Career. I'll say I had read Musafir, which is a biography of Achyut Godbole that I loved a lot.
Okay. What is more crucial, strategy or execution?
Strategy, anytime.
The next big thing in digital marketing.
Voice commands. It
Okay.
is already being popular, but to the level at which voice commands are going to get is amazing. Means today you may see, you have already heard about SEO, wherein you search something. Today podcasts like this are
Yes.
becoming popular for what reason? Because tomorrow's you guys and all of us are going to search entirely on voice searches. So now there is going to be a new concept called as SEO into voice.
Okay.
So that is a one big thing that can happen.
Okay. The best piece of advice you have ever received.
Ever received?
Yes.
I have ever that do something which you like.
Okay.
So I tried to follow in that aspect. If I don't like something, even if I get a huge consultancy assignment, but if I'm not enjoying it, I should not do it.
Any piece of advice that you want to give me as well as the viewers?
I'm not that capable enough. I'm not at all into that space to give any advice because you guys are amazing. I enter class just to learn something from you. I'm very selfish in that state. If I like something, I grab it very quickly. But I'm not that capable enough. I'll and with all due respect to all of you, and I'm not at all being modest at all. I sincerely believe I'm not that capable enough to give you guys any advice.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. It
Pleasure.
was a very fun podcast episode with you. And that's a wrap on our episode. Hope you walked with informative as well as very fun knowledge about AI.
Just all of you guys, a humble request again. These guys are doing an amazing job in this college. I wish all of you to stay relevant with them. And if you want to do that, please like, share, and subscribe their channel. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.